If you love flowers that pop on your handmade cards, keep watching. I'll show you simple techniques to add contouring to the flowers you color with Stampin Blends. Hi, this is Sage Kimball and I'm the Mad Stamper with another technique video for card makers and paper crafters. I made this card recently and realized it's a perfect example for demonstrating the contouring and dimension techniques that I use. Let me show you how. I've already heat embossed the flower from To a Wild Rose. I stamped 2 images with rich raspberry ink on shimmery white cardstock. Then I covered them with clear embossing powder and melted it with the heat tool. Although Stampin' Up! Recommends using Whisper White cardstock with blends, shimmery white works equally well, and it gives some subtle bling to your project. I'm using Rococo Rose blends, both the light and dark versions. I'll start with one of these outer petals and fill it with the light color using the brush tip because the petals are large. I like to work on only 1 or 2 petals at a time, as the colors blend best when they're still a little wet. Now I take the dark marker and use the fine tip to add contour lines. The stamp shows you where the contour lines are, so that's a big help. I'm also going to add the dark color to the center of the petals and any place that it might be in shadow from the petals on top of it. This helps give a sense that the petals are curved. Next, I go back over the petal with the light marker to help blend the 2 colors. You can either add the light marker to the entire petal, or if you want a lighter look, you can add it just in the areas where the 2 shades meet. You can see that I move the image around so that the tip of the marker points towards the outline. That's so I'm less likely to color outside of the lines. I've sped up the recording so you can see me working with a couple more of the outer petals. Otherwise, the video would be too long. I'm coloring this little place between petals with the dark marker. I figure it must be part of a petal underneath, and so it would be in shadow. When I'm coloring the shaded areas, I'm not trying to be precise. It's just a bit of shadow on the center third of the petals, and no one is going to be looking closely enough to see if it looks realistic or not. Now that all the outer petals are colored, you can see the subtle shading that helps give the sense that they're all curved. I'm going to use the small tip on these smaller petals on the inside. I also color the center of the flower while I'm working in this area. I add contouring and shading with the darker marker, just like I did with the outer petals. This technique is pretty informal. There's no correct amount of shading and contouring. You just need to practice and see what gives you the effect that you like. This little area is where the bottom of the petal curves enough that you see it from the top. I like to leave it light, where it contrasts with the subtly darker part of the petal. I'm not sure what this petal is doing, but I'll color it as if it were a regular one. Sometimes the stamp designers take a bit of artistic license. Here's the finished flower. It's nice just like this, but I'm going to step it up by coloring and cutting out the center of a second flower to layer on this one. You can see that I colored an extra petal, which I marked with lines so I don't get confused when I cut it out. Now I'll cut the full flower with a die from the Wild Rose set and hand cut the center of the second flower. Here are both of the cutout layers, but I have a couple more tricks before I put them together. First, I'll use a rich raspberry marker, either alcohol or water-based, and color the cut edge of the flower center. I use the side of the brush tip and apply ink from the back so that if my marker slips, it won't mess up the right side of the flower. I like how that turned out. The next trick has to do with this white margin around the flower. I don't like it unless I'm putting it on a white background. I'm using the dark Pool Party blends to color the white since it coordinates nicely with the leaves and designer series paper I'm using. The Pool Party edge really makes the flower pop against the designer series paper background. Now I'll put mini dimensionals on the back of the flower center and adhere it to the bottom layer, carefully lining up the petals on the two layers. That's it. Very simple, very effective. So be sure to try it in your craft room. You may like the results the first time you try it, or it may take some experimenting before you get the feel for it. But once you do, you'll want to keep coloring everything. Thanks for watching. Please like this video, share it with your friends, and leave me a comment. For more inspiration and instructions, be sure to sign up for my newsletter at www.stampingmadly.com. Visit me on Facebook and Pinterest, and don't miss another great video. Subscribe to the Mad Stamper YouTube channel now.